Welcome to the Troll Patrol Live. This is a special edition. We're waiting on word from the Attorney General in Kentucky about the findings of the grand jury in the Breonna Taylor case in Louisville, Kentucky. It appears that NBC has already went on the air before the press conference is supposed to start in 5 minutes. But it looks like NBC already went on the air and was reading the findings. So I paused. I came on just as I heard them start talking.
The above-named defendant, Brett Hankeson, committed the offense of wanton endangerment in the first degree when, under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to human life, he wantonly shot a gun, into the apartment occupied by initials CE. Count 2. Wanton endangerment in the first degree. On or about March 13th, 2020, in Jefferson County, Kentucky, the above-named defendant, Brett Hankeson, committed the offense of wanton endangerment in the first degree when, under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to human life, he wantonly shot a gun into the apartment occupied by initials CN. Count 3. Wanton endangerment in the first degree. On or about March 13th, 2020, in Jefferson County, Kentucky, the above-named defendant, Brett Hankeson, committed the offense of wanton endangerment in the first degree when, under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to human life, he wantonly shot a gun into an apartment occupied by initials ZF against the peace and dignity of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Mr. Foreperson, is that the decision of the grand jury? Thank you. Sir, if you would please randomly select a number.
Division 13.
Division 13. Thank you, sir. The case will then be assigned to Jefferson Circuit Court, Division 13. Madam Assistant Attorney General, do you have a motion with respect to bond?
Yes, Your Honor. The Assistant Attorney General asks for $15,000 full cash bond for the defendant, Brett Hankeson.
So
I will grant the motion
3 counts
and
of wanton
assign
endangerment.
bond in the amount of $15,000 full cash and issue a warrant. That concludes the business of the grand jury sitting for Jefferson County in September 2020. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You may be excused. I'm going off the record.
All right, we've been watching the judge in Louisville, Kentucky, announcing the grand jury's decision regarding the Breonna Taylor case, a woman shot to death in her own home during a police raid. It appears only one of the 6 officers who was involved in that operation has been charged. Let's go to Gabe Gutierrez right now in Louisville. Gabe, walk us through what just happened.
Hey there, Lester. Well, we're just starting to get reaction here.
That's it. That's what the guy in the crowd says. Wow.
But I want to point out what just happened. There were 3 officers here that were under investigation.
3 officers shot.
These proceedings. One you just heard from right there, Detective Brett Hankeson. He is significant because he is the only one of those 3 officers that had previously been fired. And in his termination letter, the police chief wrote that he had wantonly and blindly fired into one of the apartments. So he was appealing his termination, but it appears that the grand jury, the only officer...
So that's the only one that's going to face charges, and the only charge he's going to face is wanton endangerment. A woman died. An innocent woman died, and nobody is going to be held accountable for that. That is not justice.
But another apartment as well.
And it didn't even sound like it was for Breonna Taylor's apartment. It sounded like it was for the other apartments that they fucking shot into for no reason.
Police Department. The other 2 officers that were part of this investigation, Sergeant John Mattingly and Miles Cosgrove, they remain employed by the department.
Mattingly is the one that we read the email from last night.
Lester, what's significant here is that we did not hear any charges against those 2 officers. As part of all this and part of a broader context here, the Breonna Taylor case has really set this community on edge for more than 6 months. There have been more than 100 days of protests.
Now, apparently, we should be getting ready for a press conference from the Attorney General's office.
In this case, you discussed the details of this. This was a botched raid back in March of this year.
It wasn't a botched raid. They lied to obtain a warrant.
Especially following the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. Her name, Breonna Taylor's name, has become a rallying cry for social justice protests across the country. It's important to note that Breonna Taylor's family was asking for second-degree manslaughter charges against these officers. They were not going so far as to ask for murder charges here, because even the family realized that, in their words, it would be a long shot to get a murder charge in this case.
Manslaughter. That is what all three of them should face.
Would allow potentially
they can argue their fucking cases in court, but they should face those charges.
The union has reiterated this, that they feel the shooting was justified because Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, had fired upon the officers first.
Perfectly legal to fire on someone intruding on your fucking home. And the fact that right-wingers aren't upset about that and coming to his defense is telling.
Endangerment that is less than what the family had been asking for. 2 other officers, it appears, here will not be charged, and we're now waiting.
Louisville is going to burn.
Attorney General in the next few minutes. Lester?
Gabe Gutierrez, thank you. NBC News legal analyst Danny Cevallos is here. Danny, walk us through this process now and these charges. 3 counts of first-degree wanton endangerment.
So I'm going to get off of the NBC coverage because that could be copyright violation. We're going to stick around. We're going to see if Daniel Cameron, he is the Attorney General of Kentucky, is going to be coming out for a press conference. That's what we were expecting. Let me search the YouTubes and see what I can pull up to get us back on here. Okay, so here's the live shot of the press conference. This is what we're going to go back to. I don't know if this is going to be Attorney General Cameron himself, or if this is going to be a representative of his office or of the... or some other official from the city of Louisville. But it appears that one officer has been charged with 3 counts of wanton endangerment, and it wasn't even for firing in Breonna Taylor's home. Pull up the picture here. All right, they're telling the press it's going to be a couple of minutes. So Hankinson is the one that has had charges brought against him by the grand jury, 3 counts of wanton endangerment. He is the one that's already been fired from the police department. The other 2 are still employed by the Louisville Metro Police Department. Mattingly is the one that we read the obscene letter from last night on the Troll Patrol, where he was talking about they did the lawful, ethical, moral thing when they shot an innocent person. It's disgusting. And it's insane the amount of care they have taken to board up the city in preparation for people burning it down, rightfully so. And now I also want you to remember this, that I was banned from Facebook yesterday for saying that they should burn it down if murderers get off. Which means that I have faced more repercussions over the Breonna Taylor story than Sergeant John Mattingly, than Detective Miles Cosgrove. And that's a fucking problem. I have faced more consequences than the motherfuckers that killed an innocent person that night. By the way, if you can't see my shirt, specifically wore it for this event. The government protecting and serving the shit out of you. And I always see right-wingers bring up, well, she wasn't in her bed. Because people always, she got shot sleeping in her bed. She wasn't resisting arrest or anything. And right-wingers are like, well, the autopsy revealed she wasn't actually in the bed. Of course, motherfucker. You hear somebody knocking at your door, you're not going to get out of bed? Of course she wasn't literally in bed. There was a commotion going on, you stupid motherfuckers. Right-wingers are morons. Yeah, where are they? Where are these right-wingers? Where are these right-wingers taking up for the Breonna Taylor's boyfriend? Where are the ones that came to his defense? He spent 2 months in jail. Where were them? Where were they? Where were they raising fucking money like they did Kyle Rittenhouse? Where were they? They don't fucking give a shit because he was the wrong skin color. All right-wingers. You can't show me one. You can't show me one that fucking defended him. I fucking dare you. Nobody even knew who the fuck... Nobody knew what his name was. But they'll fucking try to raise money for Kyle Rittenhouse. Fuck out of here with that nonsense. All right-wingers are morons. All of them. All right-wingers are morons. Every single one. I dare someone to prove me wrong. I take call-ins every night when I do this show, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 917-830-4359. Call in tonight and prove me wrong. I dare you. Nobody's been able to do it yet. Because you'll call in, you'll try to fucking argue with me. I'm going to prove that you don't know what you're fucking talking about, and then I'm going to be like, right-wingers are morons. That's what happens every time somebody tries to call in and argue with me. It doesn't go well for them. But I mean, prove me wrong. I dare you. I fucking dare you. So that's somebody from the courts that is explaining what wanton endangerment, that is the charge that Harkinson faces. They're explaining the actual legal definition of wanton endangerment. That might be another reporter, actually. You don't care enough to, because you'd fucking find out you're wrong. Right-wingers are fucking morons. Oh, I like that you're speaking on behalf of all right-wingers. Well, call in and prove me wrong. Oh, well, I don't care enough to. Well, then shut your fucking mouth. God damn. Right-wingers are morons. If you don't care enough to. You got me fucking at a salty time right now, man. I haven't even had my morning bowl yet. Now, on my normal show, I do a segment called Reefer and a Rant. Basically, this whole special edition is Reefer and a Rant. You're conservative because of personal beliefs. Well, those beliefs are probably fucking stupid. And if you were to talk to somebody that challenged you on them, you would realize they're fucking stupid. And the only reason you have conservative fucking beliefs is because you've never actually had to rationalize them or apply them in the real world. I promise you. How do I know? Because I can fucking prove it. Call in and talk with me. I dare you. Conservative personal beliefs. I was president of the Young Republicans in high school. Do you know what happened? I fucking learned something about how the world works. What do you mean liberal or conservative? When you ask a question like liberal or conservative, I have to ask precising definitions. Are we talking about liberal in the actual sense of the word? I'm a leftist. Fuck liberals. Well, if you think that abortion is wrong, you're a fucking idiot. See, here's the thing. With abortion, you can never convince me that bringing a child into this world without being properly prepared, without being financially stable, without having a proper home for it, you can't convince me that that's not child abuse. So, my morality tells me that bringing a child into this world unprepared is child abuse. Yours says that terminating a pregnancy is murder. There is no objective right or wrong about that, so the only just position is pro-choice. Glad I can clear that up for you. Right-wingers are morons. So you can be personally against abortion all day long. You do not have the right to force that belief on other people. It's not a belief. And furthermore, anybody that brings up abortion is being intellectually dishonest. All it is a position where you can act morally superior to other people without having to do anything. All you have to do is like, well, Democrats kill babies, and you can act morally superior and sniff your own goddamn farts without having to actually go out and challenge your own privilege. That's why fucking conservatives love the issue of abortion so much. Because they love to act pious without ever actually doing anything. Like the fucking morons they are. Come in here talking about abortion. Fuck off. I held my girlfriend's hand while she had an abortion. Fuck you. It's not celebrated. Where is abortion celebrated? Nobody celebrates abortion. I promise you. That's a straw man. And that's another thing I have a problem with right-wingers. They love to create straw men of the other side. I steel man my arguments. I make sure that I take on the best version of the conservative argument to make sure that I am correct. Right-wingers want to take on straw mans. They want to say, oh, I think abortion's being celebrated everywhere. No, it's fucking not. That's fucking stupid. That's an emotive argument where you're trying to get emotion involved and not rational thought. We're still waiting for, I believe it's going to be Daniel Cameron, the Attorney General of Kentucky. I think he has political aspirations. He is a Republican. I'm not sure you can be conservative and be pro-choice. I mean, you can be conservative in your economic matters and everything, but like being a part of the Republican Party and being pro-choice you can't do. That's a poison pill. They'll call you a rhino, hands down. The right wing in this country has become just a fucking cult where you can't not subscribe to all their tenets. Where are these conservative pro-choice people at? I mean, I guess you can in theory, but if you are planning on voting Republican, you are part of a cult. You are voting against your own best interest. I don't know what you mean by globalist. Globalist implies some kind of Jewish conspiracy, and I'm definitely not on board with that. Corporate America absolutely has bought and paid our politicians, and to an extent has rigged our elections in some ways. Yes, Biden is basically a Republican. But hey, at least he believes in democratic institutions. Trump is out here talking about how nothing matters to WSJ. The Wall Street Journal. Who cares about the Wall Street Journal? They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Who brought up the Wall Street Journal? I use them whenever I'm arguing with conservatives. I feel that's a good conservative source that they will accept. They tend to be factual in their reporting while, you know, biased. This is the thing I hate about press conferences. Back when I used to do news, man, like being one of these cameramen, standing there with your little fucking recorder, waiting on them. They told you the press conference was at 1:30. Here it is, 1:46, and nobody's out yet. Anybody that votes Republican Party in America in this election is part of a fucking cult. And you are voting against your own best interest. Hands down, because of some brainwashing that right-wing propaganda has put on you. I'm not ignorant. I'll be happy to explain it to you. As I said, I do a call-in show every night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 917-830-4359. If you think I'm ignorant, then you should call in and try to prove it. I am happy. I'm more than happy to show you how wrong you are. People love to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to politics. I'll bet my degree in philosophy that I do. I'll bet my 20 years experience in the news business that I do. Been doing this for fucking years. We're getting ready to do this press conference. We're here about a press conference. I do a show every night where I take call-ins. You're welcome to call in. 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. Please, please call in. I'd love to talk with you. Be sure to follow, subscribe, all that good shit. All right, this is Attorney General Cameron.
Good afternoon. And thank you for joining us today. I know that many in Louisville and across the Commonwealth and country have been.
Let me go ahead and address what you said there. You don't care to talk to people that already decided where they stand and don't care to listen to other views. I have been doing this for 20 fucking years. I've probably heard any kind of argument you're going to make. I probably already know what you're going to say before you say it, and I could make your argument for your position better than you can. So if it seems like I know what I'm talking about and like I'm very confident in it, it's because I fucking do. That's why I do a show where I take live, unedited calls, and I'm confident in my skills that I'll be able to bat down any fucking bullshit somebody comes at me with. So,
been anxiously awaiting the completion of our investigation into the death of Miss Breonna Taylor. Prior to this announcement, I spoke with Miss Palmer, Breonna Taylor's mother, to share with her the results from the grand jury. Many of you in this room know that I had the opportunity last month to meet in person with her and other members of Miss Taylor's family, including Miss Bianca Austin and Miss Janiyah Palmer. I want to once again publicly express my condolences. Every day, this family wakes up to the realization that someone they loved is no longer with them. There's nothing I can offer today to take away the grief and heartache this family is experiencing as a result of losing a child a niece, a sister, and a friend. What I can provide today are the facts, which my office has worked long and hard to uncover, analyze, and scrutinize since accepting this case in mid-May. I urge everyone listening today to not lose sight of the fact that a life has been lost, a tragedy under any circumstances. The decision before my office as the special prosecutor in this case was not to decide if the loss of Ms. Taylor's life was a tragedy. The answer to that question is unequivocally yes. There is no doubt that this is a gut-wrenching, emotional case, and the pain that many people are feeling is understandable. I deeply care about the value and sanctity of human life. It deserves protection, and in this case, a human life was lost. We cannot forget that. My job as the special prosecutor in this case was to put emotions aside and investigate the facts to determine if criminal violations of state law resulted in the loss of Ms. Taylor's life. This included examining the actions of Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly, Detective Brett Hankinson, and Detective Miles Cosgrove, the three officers who fired their weapons in the early morning hours of March 13th. In working with our federal partners on this case, it was determined that while we would share information to advance our respective investigations, we must also maintain some level of separation to ensure the integrity of each investigation. When examining issues regarding potential civil rights violations, we determined that any such violation are better addressed through a federal-led investigation, and issues involving potential criminal acts concerning the shooting are better addressed by a state-led investigation. With this in mind, our investigation focused on the events that took place in Ms. Taylor's apartment on March 13th. In the months since taking this case, our dedicated team of prosecutors and investigators with more than 200 years of combined career experience conducted a thorough investigation to better understand the events that led to Ms. Taylor's death. The team is here with me today. I want to personally and publicly thank them for their tireless work. These men and women are true public servants who for months have shown up every day with a desire for one thing, and that is to seek the truth. We decided while we would examine materials gathered by LMPD's Public Integrity Unit, we would need to conduct our own independent investigation and start from scratch in the interest of thoroughness, fairness, and finding the truth. There was no video or body camera footage of the officers' attempted execution of a search warrant at Ms. Taylor's residence. Video footage begins at the point that area patrol officers arrive at the location. Therefore, the sequence of events from March 13th had to be pieced together through ballistics evidence, 911 calls, police radio traffic, and interviews. We utilized information from the Kentucky State Police, local medical examiners, as well as working with the FBI crime lab in Quantico to secure a trajectory analysis and ballistics report. Our team conducted interviews in this case and spent thousands of hours examining all of the available evidence. We concluded our last interview in this case this past Friday and began our grand jury presentation on Monday. As long as the case is making its way through our legal system, I can only speak in general terms about our independent investigation and findings. As the prosecutor, I am prohibited by the Kentucky Rules of Professional Conduct from making public comments that could in any way prejudice this case as it moves forward. Each state has different rules about what prosecutors can and cannot say. The Kentucky rules are clear that I'm prohibited from making comments that could sway public opinion or heighten public condemnation of those involved in the case. These are crucial rules to ensure due process under the Constitution. When prosecutors prematurely release information about the case to the public, it can risk justice by poisoning the jury pool, violating the accused's rights to a fair trial, and even jeopardizing the final verdict. The success of our legal system is predicated on the principle that the accused is innocent until proven guilty. Despite passions, opinions, and desire for every detail to be known, the rule of law must apply. Justice must be done. In the early morning hours of March 13th, officers from LMPD executed a search warrant at 3003 Springfield Drive, apartment 4. This was Miss Breonna Taylor's
Apparently
residence.
my audio was off.
The
That should have
officers
fixed
were
it.
advised by superiors to knock and announce their presence in serving this specific
The warrant that they
search
lied
warrant.
to obtain.
The scope of our investigation did not include the obtainment of that warrant by LMPD's
Oh my
Criminal
God! Yeah,
Interdiction
the
Division.
scope of your investigation
Federal
didn't
law
include the
enforcement partners
illegal thing that they
are
did.
conducting that investigation.
You piece of shit.
Sergeant Mattingly and Detectives Cosgrove and Hankinson had no known involvement in the preceding investigation or obtainment
Wow.
of the search warrant. They were called into duty as extra personnel to effectuate the service of the search warrant. They only had information conveyed to them during their prior briefing.
Well, then who lied to
Evidence
obtain a
shows
warrant, then,
that
motherfucker?
officers
Let's
both
arrest
knocked
them, too.
And announced their presence at the apartment. The officers' statements about their announcement are corroborated by an independent witness.
No,
Who was
they
near
lied in their
proximity
report.
to apartment 4. In other words, the warrant was not served as a no-knock warrant. When officers were unable to get anyone to answer or open the door to apartment 4,
In the middle of the
decision was
fucking
made
night.
to breach the door. After breaching the door, Sergeant Mattingly was the first and only officer to enter the residence. Sergeant Mattingly identified two individuals standing beside one another at the end of the hall, a male and a female. In his statement, he says that the male was holding a gun, arms extended, in a shooting stance. Sergeant
I would be
Mattingly
too.
saw the man's gun fire, heard a boom, and immediately knew he was shot as a result of feeling heat in his upper thigh. Kenneth Walker
It's a
fired
sad
the shot
thing that he
hit
didn't fucking
Sergeant
kill
Mattingly,
you.
and there's no evidence to support that Sergeant Mattingly was hit by friendly fire from other officers. Mr. Walker admitted that he fired one shot and was the first to shoot. In addition to all the testimony, the ballistics report shows that the round that struck Sergeant Mattingly was fired from a 9mm handgun. The LMPD officers fired 40 caliber handguns. Sergeant Mattingly returned fire down the hallway. Mattingly fired 6 shots. Almost simultaneously, Detective Cosgrove, also in the doorway, shot 16 times. This all took place in a matter of seconds.
They shot
In
into
total,
a pregnant woman's
6 bullets
apartment.
struck Ms. Taylor. Medical evidence obtained by our team indicates that only one shot was fatal. Further medical evidence shows that Ms. Taylor would have died from the fatal shot within a few seconds to 2 minutes after being struck. Detective Hankinson fired his weapon 10 times, including from an outside sliding glass door and through a bedroom window.
So Hankinson is the one that
Some
has 3
bullets
counts of
traveled
wanton
through
endangerment
apartment
against
4
him.
and into apartment 3 before some exited that apartment. At the time, 3 residents of apartment 3 were at home, including a male, a pregnant female, and a child. There is no conclusive evidence that any
So a
bullets
pregnant
fired
woman
from
and a
Detective
child
Hankinson's
were in the
weapon
fucking apartment that
struck
they shot
Ms.
into.
Taylor. The KSP ballistics analysis did not identify which of the 3 officers fired the fatal shot. After receiving
Well, I bet
that
they didn't.
information, I asked the FBI crime lab to conduct its own analysis to see if they reached the same results. The FBI ballistics analysis concluded the fatal shot was fired by Detective Cosgrove. Our office looked at both reports to determine if there were major differences in the procedures used by each lab that would have led the FBI to identify who fired the fatal shot. Both law enforcement agencies use similar equipment and analysis, and each lab is highly respected for their work. There was nothing our investigators could point to, nor anything provided by the respective agencies, that directly explains why one lab made the call while another did not. I think it is worth repeating again that our investigation found that Mattingly and Cosgrove were justified in their use of force after having been fired upon by Kenneth Walker.
If they were justified, then the laws need to change.
The KSP and FBI ballistics analysis reached different conclusions, creating a reasonable doubt in the evidence about who fired the fatal shot. I certainly understand the public's desire for answers, and many have questioned the length of the investigation. Simply put, we had to try every means necessary.
So now it seems that his argument is they can't figure out who fired the fatal shot, so we can't charge anybody. Two of them acted right. But now remember, they settled for 12, 13 million. I'm not sure the exact number. I've heard both figures. They settled for at least 12 million with the family. They admitted they were in the wrong, and they settled incredibly fast. Those kind of suits don't settle that fast unless the city knows for a fact they are at fault. So they know they are at fault. They know they are responsible for that young girl's death. Yet here are the investigators tasked with providing us with that information and charging the responsible parties. But because it's them, I guess we just can't figure it out now, can we? Murderers are going to walk.
To determine who fired the fatal shot before the investigation could be completed. With a thorough and complete knowledge of all evidence collected in this case, lawyers with our Office of Special Prosecutions presented the findings of our independent investigation before a grand jury comprised of Jefferson County residents beginning on Monday and concluding today. In Fletcher v. Graham, the Kentucky Supreme Court said that the grand jury has competing but balanced functions. On the one hand, its purpose is to investigate allegations of criminal conduct and determine if there is probable cause to believe that a crime has been committed. On the other, the grand jury serves to protect the public against unfounded criminal prosecutions where probable cause is lacking. The grand jury is unique in our criminal justice system because it operates independent of the court and the prosecutor.
As we went over on the show last night, anytime anything is presented to a grand jury, the prosecutor is in complete control. They determine the evidence that is presented to the grand jury. They present it in the light that they want to present it in. They bias the grand jury 100%. And that is why if you or I, we get our cases taken in front of a grand jury, we are going to get indicted. But when it's a cop, oh no.
Hallmark of the grand jury is its independence from outside influence. This independence is necessary to ensure that justice is done both for the victims and for the accused. After hearing the evidence from our team of prosecutors, the grand jury voted to return an indictment against Detective Hankinson for 3 counts of wanton endangerment for wantonly placing the 3 individuals in apartment 3 in danger of serious physical injury or death.
Yeah.
The charge of wanton endangerment...
It's not even for Breonna Taylor. It's for the people in the other apartment.
Endangerment in the first degree is a Class D felony, and if found guilty, the accused can serve up to 5 years for each count. Kentucky law states that a person is guilty of wanton endangerment in the first degree when under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to the value of human life, he wantonly engages in conduct which creates a substantial danger of death or serious physical injury to another person. My office is prepared to prove these charges at trial. However, it's important to note that he is presumed innocent until proven guilty. During the last 6 months, we've all heard mention of possible charges.
So that's going to be their fall guy.
Brought in this case. It's
and
important
the only
to
thing he's going to
understand
get charged
that
with
all the charges
is 3 counts of wanton endangerment
have specific meanings and ramifications.
Not even
Criminal
for the woman they
homicide
killed.
Encompasses the taking of a life by another. While there are 6 possible homicide charges under Kentucky law, these charges are not applicable to the facts before us because our investigation showed, and the grand jury agreed, that Mattingly and Cosgrove were justified in the return of deadly fire after having been fired upon by Kenneth Walker.
So now here's what happened is the
Let me
grand
state that
jury
again.
probably did not know
According
they
to
lied to
Kentucky
obtain a
law,
warrant.
The use of force by Mattingly and Cosgrove was justified to protect themselves.
The way he presented the evidence without all the other context that I was providing you is the way they presented it to the grand jury. So of course the grand jury is going to go, oh, well, yeah. Don't indict them. But they didn't know all the other facts surrounding the case. And it's a closed-door session. We don't know what's going on. Those proceedings aren't recorded.
Justification bars us from pursuing criminal charges in Miss Breonna Taylor's death. The truth is now before us. The facts have been examined, and a grand jury comprised of our peers.
This is a lying sack of shit.
Has made a decision.
And he is making a play.
Justice is not often easy.
To
does
be
not fit
a
the
ma-
mold of
he
public
wants
opinion,
to be
and
a
it does
major
not
player in the
conform
Republican
to
Party.
shifting standards. It answers only to the facts and to the law. With this in mind, we must
And
now
the Republicans
ask ourselves,
will eat him up.
where do we go from here? Will we continue to prosecute the charges brought in this case as it now proceeds through the justice system and moves to trial? That is our responsibility. And this will be done while the FBI continues its investigation into violations,
So
potential
that is something. There
violations
could still
of
be federal
law.
charges against the
I
cops.
know that not
brought.
everyone will be satisfied with the charges we've reported today.
Fuck no.
My team set out to investigate the circumstances surrounding Ms. Taylor's death. We did it with a singular goal in mind:
To
pursuing
exonerate the
truth.
cops.
Kentuckians deserve no less.
Well, to make one of them into a
the
fall
city of
guy.
Louisville deserves no less.
They must. The other cops must have really hated that one guy that they charged, the Harkinson. They made him a fall guy, and they're all just going like, "Bloop."
Yes. Every person has an idea of what they think justice is.
Bastards.
My role as special prosecutor in this case is to set aside everything in pursuit of the truth. My job is to present the facts to the grand jury, and the grand jury then applies those facts to the law. If we simply act on emotion or outrage, there is no justice. Mob justice
Louisville may very well already be on fire.
is not justice. Justice sought by violence is not justice. It just becomes revenge.
Now, listen. When he says justice sought by violence, the state holds a monopoly on violence. He is speaking on behalf of the only people that are allowed to use violence. I think Democrats should go ahead and suck it up and accept the fact that Trump is going to get that seat. Pretty much their only play is to impeach him. I said they should have impeached him again and again and again after January. But, okay, so, the Democrats' only hope is that Joe Biden wins and then they can pack the courts. But the feckless Democrats under a Joe Biden administration, they aren't going to pack the courts. They're not going to go against their fucking neoliberal fucking corporate masters. So it's not going to... Because if it was a true leftist party and they seized power in the election, the smart move would be to expand democracy. You give DC, Puerto Rico, Guam, Virgin Islands, you give all those fucking territories. We got like 7 or 8 of them. Give all those statehoods. There's 2 senators, 2 senators, 2 senators. So it's like 14 fucking senators that are blue. And it would force the Republican Party to, you know, not be shit. It'd force the Democratic Party to not be shit too. And that's the reason why they're not going to do it. There's too much corporate money flowing through our politicians. And the only way to solve anything is to get politicians on either side. Give me conservatives that don't take corporate money, and I'll vote for them in a heartbeat. But you're not going to find them. The very few people that don't take corporate money are on the Democratic side, and like that's where my energy is. I am hardcore leftist. Right wingers are morons, but it's the politics that have forced me there. I could come back over to the center if it wasn't for the fact that we've gone so far off the fucking batshit crazy right side. I've got to counter it. I've got to go more radical in order to balance it out. We should abolish the Electoral College. More democracy is always the answer. Trump is absolutely corporate. Trump is all his donors are fucking big corporations. It's all the fucking tax cut. That's the only legislative accomplishment of the Trump administration, and it was a win for corporate America and people with a lot of money. Oh, Trump's not corporate though. He's very much about himself. All of his moves are about how it benefits Trump or people that have donated to Trump. I mean, Trump has always been 100% about himself and about making money.
And in our system, criminal justice isn't the quest for revenge. It's the quest for truth.
It shouldn't be, but that is what it's been.
And the use of that truth as we fairly apply our laws. Our reaction to the truth today...
If we fairly applied our laws... we would have saw 3 cops get indicted for at least manslaughter today. Because once again, it's an over 90% indictment rate. If you or I, any average Joe Schmo, has a case brought in front of the grand jury.
Says what kind of society we want to be. Do we really want the truth, or do we want a truth that fits our narrative? Do we want the facts? Or are we content to blindly accept our own version of events? We,
see projection from right-wingers. That's all I get.
This decision. I understand that Miss Breonna Taylor's death has become a part of a national story and conversation.
Here we go. This is going to be the Republican red meat.
We must also remember the facts and the collection of evidence in this case are different than cases elsewhere in the country. Each is unique and cannot be compared. There will be celebrities, influencers, and activists who, having never lived in Kentucky,
okay,
try to
I'm an
tell us how to
influencer and
feel,
an activist, I guess.
suggesting they
I have
understand
indeed
the
lived in
facts
Kentucky.
of
I've
this
walked
case,
those streets.
that
I've
they
been in
know our
Louisville so many
community
fucking
and
times.
the Commonwealth better than we do.
I know
But they
fucking
don't.
Kentucky.
Let's not give in to their attempts to influence our
He's
thinking
full of shit.
or capture our emotions. At the end of the day, it is up to us. We live
Alex
here
Jones is a
together.
fucking idiot.
We work here and raise our families here together. I urge those
He's entertaining,
protesting
but he's a
on
fucking
the streets
idiot.
to remember this.
If you believe
Peaceful
anything Alex
protests
Jones
are your
says,
right as an American
you
citizen.
are a moron.
Instigating violence and destruction
Please,
are not.
I have a
I've spoken
podcast
with
for
both
you.
Mayor Fisher and Governor Beshears.
I have some
in the days
streams you
leading
need
up
to
this
watch. My
announcement,
buddy, producer
and I urge
Dave,
them to do what is necessary.
takes on the
to
conspiracy
maintain
theorists.
law
He'll
and
help you
order
out.
and to protect our
He's
cities.
my conspiracy
and our
theory
people.
expert.
We have a long road
Alex Jones
ahead,
admitted in
both
court
as
he's
we
full of
pursue this
shit,
case
so don't come at
through
me
the
with
criminal
anything.
system, and as we address the pain in the Louisville community. I'm committed to being part of the healing process. When tragedy occurs, we must mourn.
That's the thing. I'm doing this for people like you. The reason I decided I could make a very good living not doing this shit, right? I make videos for people. because you're so gobsmacked by Alex stupid fuck Jones, that's why I feel the need to stream, or otherwise I'd be making movies, making my videos, and playing video games. I gotta help you snap out of it, man. Alex Jones is a fucking idiot. So I need you to follow my shit. I need you to subscribe to my shit, and I'll lead you to the glory. Because fucking Alex Jones is a moron. Everything. And as I said, he admitted it in court. He admitted it's all a show. He said he has psychosis to try to get off the hook for being held accountable for the whole Sandy Hook thing. Evil, man. Evil is such a stupid word to use. The Republican Party and the Democratic Party are just human beings. Evil is some stupid morality call that we make, and it's useless in a debate, and it's not the way a civil society should talk about people when you're talking about how you run the place. I'm not going to refer to a Republican Party as evil. I'm not going to refer to the Democratic Party as evil. They're human beings, and human beings are shades of everything in the fucking world. Good, bad, ugly, all wrapped into one, just like I am. I'm wrong about shit. I'm right about shit. I'm right about shit more often than not, I'll promise you that. But calling your opponents evil gets us nowhere. And here's the thing is, like, I told you I did news for 20 years, man. I know Republicans, I know Democrats. And like the Republican governor of Kentucky, Ernie Fletcher, from 2005 to 2009, 2004 to 2000, somewhere along there. He served one term. He fucking loved me, man. He was so nice to me, and on a personal level, dude, that dude was. I disagree with him about politics, but I like the guy, so I can't call him fucking evil. What good does that do? I want to be able to sit down with conservatives. Conservatives don't want to sit down with me. You've got a fucking no commies America is your handle. I don't like. Do you know what communism is? Can you sit down and discuss that ideology and be intellectually honest about it? That's good, man. That's why, like, I hope you call in tonight. Let's have a conversation. I'd love to chit chat with you. I'm not a commie, but I'll take the commie position and I'll argue it just for fun, 'cause I can.
We must also do everything we can to prevent it from happening again. Today, consistent with that view, I'm announcing that I will create a task force to review the process for securing, reviewing, and executing search warrants. We've
got what we need out of this. I'm done. Fuck this shit. I'm going to go live my normal life and come back for the stream tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern. I hope to see you then, no commies in America. Have a great afternoon. I'll see you guys later tonight on the Troll Patrol.